Has your side quest ever had a side quest? GameMasters here with another alternative way to play Dungeons & Dragons. A few days ago I asked, when your main quest has a side quest, does that side quest ever have a side quest? What about that side quest? And the answers were an overall, yeah, most of the time, and that's awesome. I've always had a set main goal for any given adventure that my players are going to run through, and 9 times out of 10, they would usually go in the complete opposite direction. And well, that's all well and good, because that ultimately is going to add flavor and lore to the overall world that we've created. But about 20 years ago, I did something really different. Their characters had a set goal, climb the mountain to the north and eradicate the evil wizard Grain, but between them and him were ogres, trolls, lots of ice and snow, and of course, dragons. Instead of beelining straight to Grain, which admittingly would have been suicide, they went to a nearby town to seek help. They tallied around a bit, gaining a knowledge of the mountain to the north, to the denizens that lived there and about Grain, and they encountered a lady who had lost her son and husband to a monster dwelling in a cave a good 2 days' journey to the east, and they went on that side quest. Before they could get there, they encountered an overturned cart. Something had obviously happened to it. There were riches all around and bodies, possibly guards from the looks of it, but why were the riches still there? Whoever had attacked surely would have taken the gold and gems, right? As they started to gather up the spilled gold and supplies, I called it a night and let them all know that the following week's adventure was going to be a one-shot, that I needed a little break from this storyline so that I could figure out what was going to happen in the area that they were headed. Looks of approval confirmed that they were all okay with this. What they didn't know is that I had had this idea in my back pocket for a while. Okay, so here's what happened. They rolled up some new characters, started out at about level 10. For one-shots, we usually did some mid-grade powerful characters because with a one-shot, we usually played hard and fast with the rules, and everyone usually ended up dying. It's just good, wholesome fun. Anyways, they have their characters and are mucking about and get hired to escort a merchant to a town to help protect him from bandits. He had been robbed twice before and didn't want to take any chances in losing any more of his wares or earned money. They agreed and set out into their town to gather supplies, and they were on their way. In talking to the merchant along the road, there were no bandits to encounter. In fact, it was a fairly easy journey to the next town. They collected their payment, but the merchant had another offer. Let me sell my wares and then escort me back home. Those bandits are a crafty lot. Once the merchant had sold what he was there to sell, probably some fabrics or plates, maybe something worth more, he loaded his filled chest into his cart, hitched up the horse, and off they went. In a small clearing, he slowed down and the party grew itchy. They felt that something was up. Still no bandits. But then as they discussed the possibilities, the merchant let loose with a surprise attack of necromancy. No matter what the players did, they could not retaliate effectively. One party member was slain in the first round, another was knocked back into the merchant's cart, spilling its contents of gold and jewels all across the ground. Suddenly, the players knew what was up. They had been playing the characters that their main characters had just encountered. Now, they all ended up dying to this would-be merchant, obviously. This was no mere merchant. Was it Grain? Was it someone else? As the last player fell, they erupted into a chatter about what was going to happen the following week's game. These characters were so much higher in level than their real characters. They were going to start up right at the murder spot. How long had these guys been dead before they found them? Was this a trap? What hope would they have in surviving against this merchant that obviously wasn't a merchant? Suddenly there was a newfound excitement for the campaign. But of course, when we started up the next game, they ended up going on yet another side quest. Okay, so the alternate method of play is this, and it really works best as a one-shot, but you could easily expand it into multiple sessions. Have the players play as alternate characters that have an overall effect on the main characters, but you have to weave it in such a way that they don't see it coming. My first attempt worked, but they eventually figured out and that kind of fueled their excitement for the main campaign. But in the years that followed, I found other creative ways to make that interweaving happen, with several of those one-shot effects not showing up in the main campaign for weeks, sometimes even months. But when that interweave was revealed, the players wowed at how everything fit together. At sometimes they begged me to do another one-shot that would eventually develop into a connection point. In essence, it gives the players even more domain over the campaign to help build the world that they are playing in, to establish lore and shape the game's environment. Let me know in the comments if you've ever tried this method of play or if you plan to now. And until next our paths cross, may you not encounter an alternate version of yourself that doesn't look like you and doesn't affect the main parts of your reality.